it's looking exactly how I want it to look, and it sounds awesome. I say exactly how I want it to look, not quite. So there is one more little thing that I want to do. All it needs now is an MOT and to be taken out on the road. But there is one more thing I want to do. So I want some bars that are kind of swept down a little bit more, but just look a little bit more rad. So I have got some mild steel tubing, which is 7/8 across, because these are 7/8 bars and all your switch gear and everything is built for 7/8, so got the same size, what have you. So I'm going to make some new handlebars out of this. So I'm going to cut it into 3 sections. So I've got the actual sort of grips and the centre section, but these upright parts here, I don't even know what to call that, what the word is for it. I'm going to make out a chain link. So I'm going to have metal bars here, a metal bar cone across there, and chain link for these sections. Probably 3 or 4 links. I've got some heavy duty chain right here. I've just got it tied up in my vise at the moment because I do need to do some cutting and grinding and stuff like that. Hopefully they'll come out all right. I've got enough chain I can just sort of tack weld. If I mess it up, I'll just do it again. I've got endless amounts of chain and tubing and that kind of stuff, so I can just keep going at it. If it doesn't look right, I can nip and tuck and redo. So I'm just going to tack weld things up so that you can break the, hopefully just break the welds easily. But once I've got it all in the right position, how I want it, properly solid all the welds up. So everything else should be all right. I might just go ahead and change the master cylinder here. I don't really think that sits very well on these bars or on any bars I make. I might change them to one of those cylindrical type that sits separately from the switch gear itself, which would mean changing the levers and all the rest of it. That's fine. We can sort that out, because I think that might be better sat more kind of upright. It doesn't on these types of bars where they're swept down a little bit. These types don't really sit very well. But I'm going to go ahead and get these bars made, and hopefully you'll enjoy, and hopefully I'll learn something, and you're probably going to see some terrible welding. So I've just got to grind out the end link there so that the bar will pass through it. I could just weld the bar straight to the end, but it would look better if it passed through it anyway, just for the aesthetics really. Oh, that started off round. Look at the shape of it now. It doesn't matter, but it's going to be worn down soon. It's the only one I've got. Well, with that sort of size shank on anyway, so... There you go. That's the actual original hole's 14.5, so I've actually enlarged it 4mm, and I need to go about another 4mm, so I'm halfway. Anyway, you get the idea. It's taking about a minute per 0.1mm, so I guess that's about, I don't know, 30 minutes a hole. I've got 3 more holes to bore out, so I'm going to do all that off camera, and then I'll just show you the end result, because you're just going to get bored feckless watching this all day. Oh, it's getting there. never actually measured the bar. There's 7/8, which I think is 22.2, and well, according to that, they're 22.66. So 22.44 now. So I guess that's just inaccuracies within the caliper, so which is a bit of a pain. Anyway, as long as you stop and check it, you're fine. Cool. I've just realised this is a bit of a guess, but if that's the 4th link that the bar's going to pass through, of course it is facing perpendicular to this one, and there should be enough twist on it so that when the bar goes through, it will be at a bit of an angle, so that this will be the equivalent bit of bar that's going through the bottom link, and so it'll be kind of shooting off in that direction, which is good because then these are kind of sweeping back a bit. I have to say that is a bit of guesswork, but do you know what? That might play into my hands. That might be in my favour, because then I can just kind of twist these as far as they'll twist and get the right angle on the bars that I want. This is just the first attempt, so not that I want to spend ages and ages grinding chain, because it is a bit of a pain, but I have got enough chain. This is about 5 or 6 minutes later, and this is still too hot to hold in my hands, and dead easy to cut, but you know, when you can get in there with the right tools, it is always easy, isn't it? But grinding that middle out is blooming hard work. So I'm just going to go ahead and grind out the other end of this, and then that's that one done, and then I'll make a second one, and then we're ready to start fabricating the bars. But yeah, that's where that bit's going to go. Yeah, I think I might have burnt my drill out. Imagine why these are so difficult to grind as well, is the way they're made. So they're going to be kind of forged and welded, possibly. Either way, anyway, I don't know how they were made. I suspect those joins there are a bit of a giveaway. I'll have to do a bit of research. But anyway, that kind of heating is almost certainly going to harden them, so that's possibly why they're so difficult to grind out. First attempt at welding, and I've just cleaned everything up with a mini angle grinder and that wire brush. It's come up alright. I don't think my welding skills, coupled with a flux core arc welder, which effectively is like a MIG welder but just isn't gas shielded, it uses a core of flux, a little bit like a stick welder, which has its shielding on the outside, and of course this is fed by, it's wire feed, so it's kind of like a MIG welder in that sense, but it's not. So there's a lot of spatter and mess, but I'm chuffed the way these have come out. So they'll replace the bars I've got on the bike, which I'll sell on. And these probably cost me, materials, probably about 20 quid, something like that. Yeah, to be fair, they've cleaned up pretty good. I just need to go at them a bit more, and yeah, looking good. Pushed it back. Right, so I'm just going to get these bars fitted, and I've bought new clutch and brake levers and perches for the specific reason that the brake fluid reservoir, the master cylinder here, is a little bit angled. It would have been alright on the original bars where it was fitted. It's just not appropriate for these particular bars that I've made. On the ones I've taken off, they were slightly angled, and because of the design of the actual reservoir, fluid was leaking through the lid, which was no good. You just couldn't seal it properly, and not helped by the fact it was angled. It really needs to be upright. So this is just inappropriate for these particular bars. Now the bars I've made are even more angled, which is going to make it worse. So I've bought new levers, clutch and brake side with perches, and one of those sort of little hopper type reservoirs that you can just angle. Once you've got the levers on the bike, you can put them at the right angle. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get the new bars on, but I just need to strip these out first, which means taking off the brake line and just the wires really to the switch. Getting that done, shall we? The actual handles themselves are at such a rake that there's no way that master cylinder would sit on there and not be at such a terrible angle. You struggle to fill it, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, so it's wholly inappropriate. So these are my new levers and perches and my reservoir. So I'm just going to go and get the bars and all of this fitted, and so that has the added benefit of getting rid of those chrome levers anyway, which I fitted and now don't like, and that should finish off the front end. So it's probably a little dark. Oh, that's better. So literally all I've done is kind of welded as best as I possibly could, because I'm not a welder and I've got no experience with welding. I welded the links together as best as I could. So the welder I've got is a flux core arc welder, so it's kind of like a MIG welder in the sense it has a wire on a spool, but it's got a core of flux, so it's a little bit like the opposite of a stick welder. You've just got the flux inside the rod rather than on the outside. It makes just as much ruddy mess, but it's much finer than an arc welder, so you can do more kind of delicate applications, I guess. So anyway, this was quite easy to do. It wasn't too tricky, and those welds are pretty solid. I just need to take the banjo bolt off there on the brake line. I'm just going to drain all the fluids down first, but just wanted to show you the sorts of things that you'll come across. So that, for example, there is the brake switch. You've got a little plunger in there. When you operate the brake lever, it just completes the circuit, and then the brake light comes on. But the wires in there are just soldered in, because I've just taken that cover off. So if you look at the new one over here, you can see it's got a kind of a more modern style little block unit underneath the lever. So all I'm going to do is just cut through the wires that we've just looked at, put a couple of blades on there and just whack them on. It's just little things like that you need to factor in terms of making things fit, you know, just adapting. Yeah, I've stripped the head out on this screw. I need to see that. I don't know. This is what happens when you're working on old bikes or cars or whatever. You just come across little issues. Don't know how well you can see that. They're kind of quite chowdered out. So these are the only two bolts that I could find of the same pitch. But you can see they're too long, so I'm just going to cut them down. Just slung those on really, they're not in their final positions. I've just sort of put them on. I'm going to have to do something with these warning lights that I made, because I don't think they're really going to suit these bars now, so might just have to make something else. So just need to get the brake lever and switch gear on this side, get it all connected back up and bleed it through. A bit tricky just trying to get the cable back on. You've got this little if you can see it, it's kind of just a little collar that sits around the little elbow there, and then holds the cable in. It's a little bit fiddly, but it goes. Okay, that's on. Okay, let's just get that screw in, screw bolt, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And that's that side done. I just need to get the grips on the other side, but I'm gonna sort of check everything for position first. Because this one's easy, because that's obviously freely moving. That's just wobbling like that because I haven't done it up yet. But with this one, of course, the grip isn't tight on the bar because this bolts directly to the switch gear. On the other side, of course, not so, because the grip will grip the bar because it isn't attached to the switch gear, because it is just a static grip. Whereas this one's on the throttle, of course. Okay, So that is the bars on, the grips, the switch gear, the levers, all mounted in position and tightened up. I've refitted the warning light onto the riser clamp, which I think actually looks better. And all I've left to do on this is fit the master cylinder to the brakes and bleed them, obviously. And then I think we can probably call these bars done. But we really are very nearly there with this. So new bars all welded up, fitted, brake clutch levers, new master cylinder fitted, brakes bled through. Just made this little guard actually, because this master cylinder kind of pokes up and it's sitting up quite high, and I thought if I stone wax it, that would just guard against it, and it does make it look a little bit rat. So I just cut some metal up and fabric cobbled this little guard together, and I think it looks okay. So it's just around the front because it just protects it against stone strike, that kind of thing. And I bought some more vacuum hose because what it came with wasn't that good, and that's quite a tight bend there, but it does the job what I bought, so that's all good. But there's one more thing I need to get, because I did take off the bar end mirrors and I just need to get some mirrors. So I'm going to start hunting for some ratty looking mirrors. I might just have one on the offside possibly, don't know, we'll see what I can get. Well, I'm well happy with the way that's come out. It's looking very rat. That's exactly the look I wanted. It wasn't even particularly difficult, and I'm glad I haven't just thrown bits on, that I've made stuff myself. I'm really chuffed that they've come out looking good, well, in my mind. And that kind of includes the front end, so for now we'll call that a wrap. Thanks for watching.